Hello, folks. In this video, we're going to take a look at the birthday countdown tracker, and we're going to take a look at modifying the code a little bit and expanding on it. So up until this point, we used import date time to import time. We have a dictionary of dictionaries, right? So inside people, we have Jonah, year, month, day, all the way down. And then one down here, um, we have days, get days until B day. And inside there, we see that we have date and time, month and day, and then we have the daytime conversion of year, person, month, and person, day. Okay, we passed in person up here and define get days until B day parameter, and we printed off that information there. Okay, we're gonna get rid of that in a second. And then format today's date for compile. So we have today's date equals date, time, date, year, month. Okay, so we convert that into a date object. And then for difference, we have birthday minus today date. Okay. And then we print that difference. So we're going to make some modifications to this. First off, I'll go up and get rid of these print statements because we're not going to need them for right now. Okay. And the only thing we should see is printing the difference. So if we run this, we see minus 7 days, and then we see the 000 at the end of that. All right. Now, the problem here is that get days until B day has a number of variables stored inside of it. We have the now, year, month, day. Those are all variables. We have birthday, and we have today's date, and finally we have difference. So when you're planning out your programs and you're thinking about what you want your functions to do, you also have to think about what purpose they're going to serve inside of your program. So here we're going to get the days until the B day, but we haven't reported out on days left. So when we called this, okay, so we defined it above, what we call it, we were just checking out tests, right? And so she was born on, let's see, May 6, 2003. So it's May 6th, okay? And that was 7 days ago. All right, negative 7 days. Okay, that's not enough. I want to be able to print off all of this, right? So it says report to me a list of birthdays at the top. That was one of our goals of planning this program, right? So we knew kind of what we wanted at the end. We wanted a reported out list. We've gotten the first two, right? Keep a list, calculate the days until their birthdays. But the reporting out the list is going to be something we're going to need to handle. Okay. So let's actually do that. Let's do, let's get rid of this. And we had written these last time as placeholders, right? So define report days left in person. And so we can uncomment that, take away that hashtag there. And now we're ready to go and actually handle this. I don't know why there's a red line there. Unexpected end of file while parsing. That's okay. We'll just leave that for right now. It's just because we haven't put anything here under this tab. Okay, so for the reporting days left, okay, what do we have to do? Well, the idea is that this negative 7 days really doesn't tell us anything. And if we chose somebody in the future, say Jonah, let's go down and change this to Jonah. Okay, unexpected end of file parsing. That's really not gonna like that, is it? All right, let's hide that for a second. Okay, we see for Jonah, 220 days left. Okay, that's better. But let's see. Today is the May 13th. Let's see what happens when we change a test to today. Put test back in there. And we see that actually there's nothing. It's not really that helpful, right? So there is no difference. What it's showing you is that there's no day difference. And what's showing here is the time difference. And there is no time difference because we didn't establish a time difference. All we took was year, month, and day. So it's the program's giving us back what it thinks we want, which is the time difference between when something was happened on a particular date. If you set a calendar event or appointment that has a particular time in the day, well, we have no time in the day, right? I suppose if we want to get more exact, we could, but we don't have that information for this program. So we need to handle what happens if the person's birthday is today, because right now it's reporting nothing, and that's doesn't really help you, especially if you're going to try to automate sending people like greetings or stuff like that. You have to be able to handle the fact of the case of 0. Okay, so we want to be able to put this in a separate function, right? Get days until b day serves a particular purpose. It takes in a person and figures out the days until their birthday. What we don't want to have that function do is all the rest of the program, because then what's the point of wrapping inside of a function? A function is going to control our program to make sure that we are able to run it predictably and to contain any errors that might come up or easily debug errors that come up. So we either need to set up a different function, or there wouldn't be any purpose to writing functions at all. But in doing so, okay, we're going to define report days left, right? And with this one, what we can do is we need to find the difference, and all we need to do is for the reporting feature is to make it or put it in a human readable, easily readable format. Okay, so if we have a person here, and we want to be able to get this difference number here so we can modify it. We want to be able to say like difference, or we could say, person, I got a rough go this person plus, let's see, person Tess's birthday is in plus difference days. So we want something like that, right? We want to be able to say, we take the person in and we say that the birthday is in so many days in the future. Okay. And is in so many days in the future. Now, this doesn't work, like I said, if you have 0 or negative. So to solve that, we're going to actually do if else statements here to account for those different values, right? But we go back to the fundamental problem of this difference is being defined inside of get days until b day. Now, functions are one-way mirrors. Functions can see out into the global scope. They can see people. They can read values outside in the global scope. But nothing can see inside of this function. So get days until b day, none of the rest of the program knows what happens, what magic happens inside of get days until b day. Nobody knows. It's a mystery. So we need to find a way of getting out this value, this difference value, so that we can actually use it inside of our program. Okay. And we're going to do that by converting this print statement, print difference. I'm going to hide it briefly so you can see, to what's called return. Return difference. All right. Now I'm going to comment out my report days left because it's not finished yet. Let's take a look. And nothing changed. We commented this out, right? You can just leave it alone now. I can just show you. By get days until b day test. So there's nothing printing out now. Okay. And why? What is return doing? Return is essentially making get days until b day. This line here, this function name, we're making it equal to the value of whatever we return. Now, returning something makes that function equal to that value, so it'll be equal to difference. And we can tell that by actually, I'm going to get days until b day people test. I can actually wrap that in a print statement here, run it, and we get back that 0, 0 that we had before, because now it's actually returned that difference. And what are we doing? We're printing the function value when the person is test, and we return that difference. Okay, I'm going to jump down here a little bit, and just to show you a couple more examples. You don't have to write these with me if you don't want. I'm just going to show you some examples real quick. So we could set up a simple function like add that takes in two variables, x and y, And if we wanted to make a quick calculator out of this thing, we could just do add x and y, and we can return x plus y. And then if we print add and we give it two numbers, say 2 and 3, and run that, it gives us back 5. So what we've just done is actually made this function add equal to this value. And we can, it's not just once, right? So if we take this and copy that, and I change these numbers up, let's say 3 and 10, so we should get 13. And we run it, we find that the first one's printing out 5 and the second one's printing out 13. So what we just did is essentially code the key, the add key on a calculator. That's all this is doing. And it's returning x plus y, right? Whatever you're adding in, or plus, whatever you're adding in. So we could do that with all sorts of different things. And if we want to do, let's see, define name, and I should just do say name. Oh my goodness. Name, there we go. And we'll pass it a name, and we'll just say print name. All right, let's do say name, and we'll give it a string, MJ. Okay, it's gonna print off that string. So, actually, this doesn't make sense. Oh man, all right. I wanted to return name. All right, and then we can just do, we can wrap the bottom one in a print statement. Good thing you're not copying me. Okay, it should print off MJ just the same. There we go. All right, yeah, so we could just have it say name, return name. So why would you use a return instead of a print? Well, like I said above, if you have something that you, the console here, the program really, it can't see the console. It can't see what things are being printed out. This is for you. This is for you as the developer, the programmer. This side over here is for the program. So in order for us to be able to identify a variable, assign it a value inside of this program, okay, we're going to need to change the print statement, which is for you in the console, to a return statement. Okay, by doing so, we can now give the entire program access to this difference value inside of this function. It essentially allows you to open up the window just a little bit. Remember, say, one-way mirrors, one-way windows, right? Here, we can open up a little bit and just get out one value out of that. Okay. Now, as soon as you include a return statement, okay, say if I had these calculations, if I put this return statement up here, okay, the program will, anytime it sees a return, it immediately stops running the program and returns that amount at that moment in the program, all right, reading top to down. So if you put this in the middle of your function, well, the function's over, it's done. It's going to return this value, and it's going to continue, it's basically going to go back to the main program. So usually these are the last things that you'll see in a function, or else you will see this wrapped inside of an elif statement, which we're going to do in just a moment. Okay, so we return difference. I'm going to go back down here, and I showed you all this in case you're interested. We're going to see these function returns more and more, so if you're still confused by it, we'll cover it more practice. Okay, so I'm going to go down here. Now that we have our return difference, I'm going to get rid of print difference just to clean up the code a little bit. Okay, so we get the difference, and then we return it, basically assigning it to this value. Okay, what good does that do us? So I'm going to get rid of print tests against bdays. We're going to get rid of that as well too. All right, so we're down to define report days left. I'm going to go and uncomment all that. And let's go back to actually trying to code this, okay? Why is this not returning color? There it is. Okay, so define report days left. Let's give this a shot one time and see what we can come up with, okay? So let's do, let's set up a new variable, num days, okay? And num days I'm going to do to, it's a local variable, right, to this. And I'm going to get the number of days until their B day. Okay, so let's do get number of days until B day. We're calling this function up here. And now we have to pass in a person. Okay. And for that, we can do people person. Okay, get days until B day, people person. All right, cool. So what's this going to do? Well, why is this throwing an error? Saying num days never side. Okay. So, all right, let's do a print statement. And let's do print num days. Okay. And now we just have to call report days left, and we give it the name of the person we want to print the days left for. So let's give it who's our longer person here? Jonah? Yeah, let's do Jonah. Okay, so report days left, Jonah. All right, 220 days left, 0, 0. All right, well, you may be thinking, well, that's not all that impressive because that's exactly what we had up here. But that's good. That's exactly what we want. It's exactly what we want because, yes, it's the same as we had up here, but it's not up there. Okay. What we didn't do is we didn't print off anything in this function. Okay. We didn't print off anything. We didn't print off difference in this function. We printed off difference down here and report days left. So what that means is that the num days that we now have in report days left is now equal to this value. It's the same thing as saying difference. We now have gotten this value outside of this one-way mirror function that nothing can see into it. Well, now we can. And now we can take that value and use it in other places in our program. So this is pretty cool, and it expands our capability in not having to write so much code later on, which is fantastic. Okay. All right. So what else are we going to do here? For the rest of it, okay, name person, print num days. Okay, we can get rid of print num days. We don't need that. Now we have num days available to us. We can actually go and we can, let me write a comment here. Assign a variable to the returned value of the function. Okay, so we assigned a variable to store that value, to remember that value as we go through our program. And now we can check for the differences. So if num days is equal to 0, so double equal sign and then 0, we put a colon, and this is going to if birthday is today. So in this case, this would be test. Well, if it's today, we tab in. We can actually say what would happen if it's today. We can report out to us as the user something fairly valuable, and that is something actionable and usable from this knowledge. So what are we going to have it do? Well, let's actually do, if today is, let's do a return statement. Okay. And what I'm doing here is I can put it all on one line. Or if I'm doing something that's multi-line, which we're going to be doing, I can wrap it in parentheses. And I can add a fairly complex statement, but I can organize it over multiple lines. So I hit enter here and I do return. And then let's take this person dot, we'll do capitalize on it. And that's an open close parentheses at the end of that. And what that's going to do is it's going to simply capitalize the person's name. So we pass it in as Jonah, but we want to make it a little bit fancier. So we're going to do capitalize on it and make it look cleaner. Okay. And then we go to the next line and I'm going to hit a plus. And then I'm going to enter my double quotes. And I'm going to say there, apostrophe S. Okay. Because I'll read Jonah's, right? Jonah's birthday is today. Or whoever's birthday is today. Okay. All right. Let's see if this is going to work. So down here, report days off. Actually, let's change this to tests. I'm going to say print this. So I'm going to wrap this in a print statement. Okay, and none. All right, so that doesn't help us, okay? Why is it none? All right, so we have to see here. So num days, person dot capitalize. Okay, so let's do print report days left tests. Let's see. None. Why is it none? Let's change. I'm going to change my inside the report days left person. I'm going to do print here instead. And let's see what happens here. Okay, still reporting none. So what is none? So let's go back. I'm going to change that back to return. Okay, if num days left equals that, num days equals birthday. All right, so there's something happening here with this statement. I'm going to take this comment out just for a second. No, that's fine. That's right spacing. Let's take a look into this. I'm going to add that statement back there. Okay, if birthday is today, that shouldn't be the problem because the comment basically makes this unreadable to the program. Okay, and let's see. All right, so let's do a check here. Let's do a print statement right below num days. Let's do print type, okay, and num days. Let's see what it comes through as. Okay, type, type, here we go. Okay, and class, date time, delta time. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So the program is currently seeing num days as a date time object, not an integer. So what does that mean? Well, that means that basically the num days type here, where the difference here, right? If we go up here and let's do print type difference and run it, we see that now we see two of them, right? Because one's printing off from below and one's printing off above. So the type difference, it sees difference as a date time object, not an integer. Well, we need it as an integer to do comparisons to see if it's equal to 0 or not. So that's, I'm going to get rid of my print type num days, print type statements there. So basically we need just to convert this to a, actually like an integer. All right. And let's do int and wrap difference. Whoa, that got messed up. There we go. Wrap difference in int. Okay, so return int parentheses difference, and that will convert difference to a number. Let's see what happens here if I run this. Okay. It says integer argument must be a string, a bytes-like object, or a number, not datetime delta. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, let's go back and what's happening here is this difference. If I can print this off to you one more time. I'm going to hide that return statement. Let's print it off. Okay, this difference is coming back as a datetime object still. So we want just the number of days. We don't want these zeros at the end of it. Okay, we don't want those at all. So how do we get rid of that? Well, what we're going to do is inside our return statement, return int difference, we're just going to go on to the end of it and just get the days value. And the days value would just be the days. So it would be 0 if it's today. Okay, or 1 if it's tomorrow, and it will get rid of this time at the end of it. And that will essentially convert it. Days difference will just be a number. It'll be 0, 1, 2, negative, or it could be a negative. And we're just going to wrap it in an integer statement to convert it to actually a number object. So we have integer difference days. Now we go down here, num days equals gets days people person, right? So we go to the people dictionary. We go to the person that we pass in. And we get that value, which we do up here, and we return that value here. So we assign this value. Num days is going to essentially equal the integer version of the difference days. Okay, now check for difference. If num days equals 0, return. We capitalize their name. Their birthday is today. So let's run it here, and we should see Tessa's birthday appear. Tessa's birthday is today. Okay, so this is very cool. This is very cool because what this is going to do is essentially going to allow us to test for each birthday that we just got, and it's going to allow us to report it out to the user again, letting them know exactly when their friends' birthdays are and how many days. Okay. And what's cool is that after we have established this, okay, we're going to add some more check statements here. Okay. Coming up, we'll add some more check statements for what happens if there's number of days is bigger than 0, greater than 0, or negative, right? Because we have to deal with the negative as well, too. But what we can do is actually, once we know if num days equals 0, we can do anything here. Meaning that it's totally within the realm of possibility. I mean, this is what computers do, is to automate the process of wishing somebody a happy birthday. We're not going to take it that far, just because this is still like beginner stuff. But what this leads to is the automation that we would like to see in our daily lives, where you don't even have to worry about missing somebody's birthday ever again, because you could simply set up a simple program that will go to that social media channel and post on that person's birthday, happy birthday for you. So you don't have to do it. All right. And that's the beauty and awesomeness of computers, is that they can make your life easier. Okay. They're built to do calculations and to produce results based upon those calculations. And in fact, that's the only thing computers know how to do, and they do it very well. But there's no magic, happening here. This is all just a bit of math and logic that happens as a result, right? So we did a calculation, and then we say, okay, as a result of that calculation, we want to have you do something about it. And in this case, it's just telling us, it's going to provide us a list of those birthdays coming up and our friends. But there's no reason why we couldn't expand on this and do more with this. And we're going to see this coming up in future lessons. But for this right now, just for expanding this program just a little bit more, this will be good enough for this video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.